Get money, yeah. Get money, yeah. Get money, yeah. Get money, yeah.
And welcome everybody to another live edition of First and Goal with your host with the most, me, Jay in the UP, and
Dave.
At Steak and Cheese.
I know, I just like Dave better. It sounds so bland. Dave.
Well, I figured since you did that, since you always do At Steak and Cheese, and then I say Dave, and you stole that from me, then I was doing your part then.
I
anyway.
did.
So at least we're on.
I did. I'm getting this feeling tonight for vibing. I don't know why. I think we got a person coming on for vibing.
Dude,
vibing.
I'm so like I can't. I don't know if it's like the half a pot of coffee I've already drank at this time of night, and I'm like all hyped up because I'm working extra shifts.
Half a pot, so. Bro. Get on my level. Two pots.
Well,
come on, bro.
I already drank 3 pots of coffee today. Okay, like but we're having Julie Voigt at Julie Noted on, co-founder of Pro Football Guru. The partner of a Mr. Russell Baxter who was on our show last week. And so we're going to get right to the quick news updates. And Dave's going to roll through them real quick so that we can get Miss Julie on here and not waste time because you know what? We figured out these people are a lot smarter than we are. You guys want to hear from them more.
Yeah. We're just the lower end people.
Right. Let's get to the news updates.
News updates.
Big one just hit an hour ago, folks. Carson Wentz gets a 4-year extension on his contract, $107 million guaranteed, highest ever in NFL history. So it's a 4-year, $128 million extension. So it's 6 years, $154 million. They're paying for his potential. I don't
has not played a full season yet and hasn't proven anything. We're going to save some of this for when Julia's on with us.
We're going to save a little bit.
There's a lot to get into with that one right there. So, you know what?
Good Lord.
We're going to tease that so that we don't overblab because I really want to get Julie's input on that.
Well, we actually have a rival team picking up a free agent today, which I kind of don't think it's I don't know. I feel like it's hyped up a little bit too much by the Lions fan base, but Lions signed Jermaine Kearse. So he did well with Josh McCown a couple of years ago, and then he just fell to the wayside. I don't know. Ever since he left Seattle, he hasn't been the same receiver we saw in Seattle, getting those big chunk routes a lot. And I think he's going to be like 4th or 5th wide receiver depth for the Lions. I don't see him even being a factor. I mean, they've got Hawkinson and Jesse James there behind the 3 receivers they have in their depth chart already. So it doesn't make sense to me why they're signing him when they have the 2 tight ends now.
No, it didn't. And do we have anything else, Dave, quickly?
Actually, so far it has been kind of quiet. It's a good thing. I guess we're all getting ready for mandatory mini camps coming up. So, yeah, I think that rounds out about the news. I would go more on the Carson Wentz, but we're saving a little bit of that for later because of how big an impact it's going to have on the NFL.
Yeah, and of course, because we have somebody that is much smarter than us.
Yeah.
I think that it would be a good topic to cover with her. So, given that, you know what we're going to do right now is we're going to go ahead and take a quick little break so that we
break.
Just quick one, just so that we can call Miss Julie and get her on here. So, folks, we will be right back after a word from Mr. Jason Murillo.
Hey, yo, Jason. Say something to her. Holla at her.
I got one question. How'd you fit all that in them jeans. You know what to do with that big fat butt. Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. Just a little bit of patty cake with no hands. Got me in this club making wedding plans. If I take pictures while you do your dance, I can make you famous on Instagram. Hot damn it, woo. Your booty like 2 planets. Woo. Go ahead and go ham sandwich. Woo. Whoa, I can't stand it. 'Cause you know what to do with that big fat butt. Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. Just a little bit of Cadillac, pop that trunk. Let's take a shot, alley-oop that don't. Tired of working at 9 to 5. Oh, baby, let me come and change your life. Hot damn it, woo. Your booty like 2 planets. Woo. Go ahead and go ham sandwich. Woo. Whoa, I can't stand it.
Okay, and there we go. Now we are enough of wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. And we are now joined by Miss Julie Voigt of Pro Football Guru. Say hello, Julie.
Well, hello. Thank you for having me finally, right?
Oh, it is a pure pleasure. We are so glad to have you.
We're honored to have you.
Oh, well, thank you. You guys are nice. I like this.
Oh, you know what?
Yeah, I mean, I don't. Russell got the same thing, but he tried to be all funny guy, and so yeah, we played along with it. But yeah, we tried the same thing. He tried to play the comedic side.
Look,
yeah, you gotta watch out with those puns.
Well, I know those old sports analysts. I tell you.
He caught me off guard because here's the problem, right? I'm not good with names and faces, but like I know voices, and when I heard Russell's voice, I knew for some reason I had heard that voice. But the guy undersells himself on social media on his bios and stuff, and he starts talking, and all of a sudden I feel like I'm way out of my league on this podcast with who this guy is, and then I realize I recognize his voice. And now I'm into this deep thing. And then I'm realizing, oh my God, now we're going to have Julie on. Oh, we better be more prepared. So I'm actually prepared today for you.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe I should ask you the question, huh?
I mean, that's fine if you want to do that.
Look, we know you're a Colts person. So we want to get the Colts in here because you know what? I feel like there's a lot of similarities between the Colts and Packers, Julie. And so I kind of want to hear your take on that.
Because I completely agree with you.
The Packers needed to look and do what the Colts have done the last couple of seasons, and they've done a good job.
Yes, I completely agree. And every time, going into the NFL season, and of course I live up here in Northwest Indiana, which is by Chicago, and I do watch a lot of Packer games too. And of course, you can't compare so much comparing with even down to your quarterback. I see Andrew Luck almost, I know probably people would kill me saying this, but I see a lot of features in Andrew Luck that Aaron Rodgers has. The similarities are kind of scary, especially when they're, in the zone and everything else. And I completely agree with you. There are a lot of similarities between these two teams.
You know who I know it's going to sound funny, but it's not Aaron Rodgers, Julie, who I see a comparison from a quarterback that played in Green Bay. It's a lot more of the throwback Brett Favre. Aaron is so turnover conscientious that my wife even says sometimes it hinders his overall ability. Andrew doesn't seem to be like that. He's the aw shucks, I threw an interception. You know what? I threw 4. I can throw 5 touchdowns and win this game. That's more Favre to me than Rodgers.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. You're going into this new season here with a new coach as much as the Colts last season went through the season with a new coach. And I see a lot of your rookies from last year going into their second year, and hopefully, definitely, you see some changes going on in there, especially after OTAs and everything else. And I think your NFC North better watch out. That's all I'm saying.
I feel that I went ahead and took a step back and looked at it, Julie. And last year, what you and Jay just talked about, were last year with a new head coach coming with Frank Reich, which is a hell of an offensive schemer. I love him for Andrew Luck. He is a calm demeanor coach, and he keeps everyone on the offense settled and focused. And I that's what I like about LaFleur. I think he has that same calm demeanor. He's not jumping off the page or throwing bad press conferences. Like they're very down to earth, and I think that both of that right there for both coaches is going to be huge for both seasons coming up. But on top of that, I think also with Chris Ballard and Brian Gutekunst, they both have a way of building this young core on both teams.
Oh, exactly. This past couple months, I actually went to the Colts Town Hall meeting, and they had Frank Reich and Chris Ballard. And just like you said with Frank, he is just a very, very calm individual. With his mantra, you're getting better every day. You got to at least get better at 1% every day. And just being around him, I think that gives the whole locker room much difference. And you have all these rookies, coming in right now, and they're just feeding off the veterans and showing pretty much what they can do. And it's just phenomenal on what Frank Reich is doing with his team. And of course, last season, I would say would be like pretty much let's see what you can do with this team. Now we're going into the second season, and now it's just let's fix what we did, and what we need to do. And I think you're right with Matt LaFleur. I think he really, really has that demeanor where I think he's finally going to fix whatever was missing with the Packers last season, and it's just going to just flow just perfect. A lot of people need to learn patience. I think last year, majority of my articles that I wrote for Russell were preaching patience with this Colts team, and I think a lot if the Packers would just, I'm not saying that you're just frantic, but if you just take patience with this new coach, with all these players, I think you will get somewhere. And I really, really do see you guys coming back definitely this season. Watch out, NFC North. I'm telling you.
I have a phrase I say to Jay all the time: "It's have mercy on the NFL Aaron Rodgers," because I feel with Aaron Rodgers being motivated mentally into a new offensive system, it feels like he's being challenged. He's going to push himself to be the best at this offensive system. And with McCarthy's system last year, you can clearly see he got bored with it. In the years prior, that's why he was audibling everything, because it was so stale. He knew the defense was going to scout it out. Yeah.
It didn't work. I mean, the players weren't being helped, and so it was all Russell pointed it out, basically. They were putting all the illness on the quarterback and hoping and praying that Aaron could save the day. And if he couldn't, they were done. And no quarterback, Russell schooled me and Dave. No quarterbacks won like that. Nobody's walked away at the end of the year with that type of system with a trophy. And so it was just, we were going, the Mike McCarthy era, the last 7 years or so, was insanity, because it was the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result with no fixes to do anything. It became the definition of insanity, and it drove me insane watching it.
Right, yeah. I completely agree. I did listen to the podcast.
We have to time out one thing, though, Julie, because what we didn't do that we let Russell do is we didn't let you brag yourself up. We didn't let you throw out all your credentials so that everybody understands where you came from. And
we need to hear your LinkedIn profile. Throw it out there.
We want you to brag yourself up. This is Julie time. Tell us all about Julie and how you work so hard to get where you are, because we got to know.
Vibe and time. I like that. I'm going to use that next time. So
you're welcome.
Yes, I'll give you credit for all that. honestly, I just started writing probably about